Welcome to Horror Queen Interviews. My name is Miss Taint, and this is
Sélah V.
I'm Brandon Perras-Sanchez, co-creator of Drogo.
I am Ryan Miller, also one of the co-directors.
And I'm Mike Ahern, also one of the co-creators.
Oh shit, you came out of nowhere!
Surprise.
Thank y'all so much for joining us. We are we're based in San Antonio, Texas. We've been doing this for since February, pretty much. We've been doing the reviews since February, and then we just started doing these interviews with horror directors. This is episode 2 of the interviews portion of the channel. So thank you so much once again. So today we have a couple of questions for y'all. Are y'all ready for them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What inspired the film? Like, what inspired you to make this sort of thing?
And we're talking about Saint Drogo right now.
Really bad relationship experiences.
That's a fucking mood for sure.
Yeah, a lot of unfortunate, triggering moments of dating. And also the beautiful seaside Provincetown, Massachusetts in the winter.
It is beautiful. It was really beautiful. The scenery was gorgeous. I mean, even though a lot of things were like dead and like it was a little bit gray, the look, it looked kind of cold, but also like almost relaxing, like in a way, you know.
It is.
How was the weather there, like when you were filming, and how long were y'all filming there for?
But from like you were saying, so like with the relaxing thing, like it is really, there's something about it, even though it's like freezing and just everything's dead. Like the ocean and like the sky are the same color. There's just like this like calm quietness throughout the entire town. It's just it is very relaxing. I do recommend it.
Yeah, one of my favorite times there is the off season. It's just like the weird like desolation is like sort of very serene, and it can be like spooky, but it's also just like a really beautiful like landscape.
Have y'all like encountered any hauntings there besides the the fucking monster at the end?
P-Town? No.
Not personally.
Not in P-Town, no.
But I wouldn't be surprised.
It took us like maybe around 2 years on and off. Like it wasn't constant, but it's because it's seasonal. We were sort of like, if we missed some shots in the winter, we had to wait until like the next winter to film again. And so it was sort of like nights or mostly weekends. And it's 2.5 hours away from where we live, driving. So it's not something that we can just like hop over there randomly. So we kind of have to like plan ahead, get a place to stay, and then shoot for like 2 days. And then maybe the next time we're able to all get away again might be another month later. So it just like took a while.
That's really interesting that you say that, because that's like a lot of dedication, like being able, like, waiting. I'm a really impatient person, so I feel like I want to finish it all at once, but waiting like an entire 2 years to finish something, that's like wild.
Yeah, it is. It takes a lot of patience. But I mean, it really paid off because the movie came out so great. It was beautiful. I love the scenery and everything that y'all did in it.
And you know what's crazy? Like, we had no idea what this film was going to be about, so we were completely bamboozled.
Literally no clue.
I was like, "Mom, do you want to watch this with us?" And she was just like, "Oh, yeah, for sure, we'll watch it." So my mom and my stepdad had a seat with us, and I was like instantly regretting that. Like,
Yeah,
I'm seeing a bunch of tits and ass like in y'all's movies. You can see a bunch of dicks and ass in ours. So
exactly. Yeah, it's not the most like uplifting movie. It's like sitting there like, yeah.
I thought it was very like
your mother.
Yeah, I personally thought that it could be shown like on Lifetime or Hallmark, but that's like
It's a classic.
It's a classic. Definitely in the winter Hallmark section.
So, y'all were saying that it was kind of inspired by like your personal life, relationship wise. How much of it would you say like is inspired by actual events, or how much do you relate to personally?
It's a very embellished version, I would say. I didn't end up in some weird orgy or whatever, in my experience. I think a lot of the dynamics of the two leads I drew from like personal experiences, and we all, like the other two guys did as well. So just sort of that like dynamic of like not being honest with the person you're with, and sort of like having the courage for either of them to like say that they're not compatible, and they're just kind of like putting band-aids on like big eyeball gouged wounds.
And it's
But,
so relatable. I feel like we've all been in that situation.
when I was watching you guys' review of the movie, it was like I felt bad that it was like triggering for some of you, but it also felt like really validating because it means like the things we put in are speaking to other queer people and like other dating experiences. You know what I mean?
Definitely effective for sure. And I've had my eye on this film for quite a while. You know, when I started seeing all the teasers for St. Drogo, I was like, what the hell is this film about? Y'all left it very like ominous, which I appreciate. Because I'm more than sure everybody that's viewing it did not expect that.
Yeah, I love your reaction videos.
Oh my
that
God,
you
it's so
posted.
good.
Is everybody's mouths are just like
I had to because we had a moment throughout the like it was like the halfway point when he enters the antique store and Sélah like swears up and down that it said Antigua.
I thought it was saying Antigua like the country Antigua.
Yeah. I was dying. You know, we always wanted to film in Antigua. That was one of the other motivations.
It would have been warmer.
St. Drogo was always supposed to take place in Provincetown. Like like one of the original inspirations was like just how the stark contrast between the off season and the on season, like during the summer when it's like bustling and every gay that you know, like in a I don't know 100-mile radius is there, versus the off season where it is like a complete like desolate ghost town, and there's like you said like a beauty to it, but also like it just kind of lends perfectly for the folk horror genre. So setting wise, we didn't have anything else in mind, but I don't know where else I'd film. I think it'd be fun to do something stupid in like a Palm Springs or something. I don't know, like some really like depraved gay shit in Palm Springs. I just don't know what that is yet.
I live for that. I went to Palm Springs in April and last April. Yeah, with a really tragic ex of mine. So this movie, like I said, was very
That's fucking Palm Springs for you.
Is that what happened to your eye?
you know, I fell off of a hot air balloon and I landed on somebody's pitchfork in Coachella. So
You should see his other eye, the third one.
Yeah.
Come back to that question. I think I'd film in Iceland. Every time I see photos of it, we went there one time too. It's like the whole landscape is so surreal. It'd be really fun to film some like weird like horror fantasy kind of folk horror thing there too.
I was gonna say somewhere like that, like maybe Eastern Europe or something like with the old buildings. I feel like your style or you guys' style of filmmaking would go so well with like that old like buildings, very like
historical.
Oh yeah.
That would be
Like
cool.
like the old subspecies movies, and they filmed those in Romania. All those like old castles are just so gorgeous. That's a good call. Like that's those yeah, it looks awesome over there.
Yeah.
it could be like Check Hunter, but like a horror spin.
Ooh, I like this.
If there's any sugar daddies listening,
Yeah.
Right.
the money.
Y'all are so funny.
Have y'all like always been horror fans, like or have y'all ever thought about making a film that isn't horror related?
It's funny you say that. We have we've always been horror fans for sure. But like there's a script, we want to write a script kind of like Todd Solondz style, like Welcome to Dollhouse ish, about just like younger kids like coming to terms with like being queer, like and how that was. I feel like that's never really depicted on film, and like all like the weird, funny, kind of awkward moments you have like trying to navigate like being from a conservative family and being a little gay kid, and like all the dumb shit you end up doing. And I don't know, I think there's like a lot of like really kind of fun stories there. Like it definitely be like a dark comedy, not like a sad way, but just kind of like, oh god,
Yeah,
in that awkward way.
Oh yeah.
Just like weird universal like we experiences. I don't know, just like the weird like not understanding why you're feeling a certain way, but you know something's off about you. I don't know, and just doing it in a way that like Brandon said was like more Welcome to the Dollhouse, and just like awkward, funny. Was something we were considering writing too. But horror and comedy like sort of are, I don't know, kind of the same release sometimes, like laughing or screaming, I feel like is sometimes like hand in hand.
Yeah.
Is there a big like alternative like queer scene in your guys' area of the country?
Yeah, Providence has been like, or the Providence area has been very, very queer for a long time. I moved here in about 2003, and when I first moved here, there was, I think, I want to say like 9 or 10 active gay bars and lesbian bar, 2 lesbian bars, a bunch of gay bars. Yeah, we have really interesting like LGBTQ history here too. The drag, a lot of like drag queens have been doing stuff since the 80s still live here. So yeah, it's pretty queer. Our Pride, like I don't know what the count was this year, but like before COVID, we had 125,000 people here, and they shut the whole city down. It's pretty wild. And so like alternative stuff, go alternative drag. We do have a good like monster drag community here too. There's a lot of people doing it. They like Severity Stone, Complete Destruction, Ava Unit One. Yeah, this is a whole crew.
I wanted to circle back a little bit. If there was anything in the movie that you wanted to show but didn't, like, is there something that didn't make the final edit? You know?
Yeah.
Or did you have to like take things out because it was too like obscene?
Yes, actually.
For that. We need an unrated cut.
Yeah, we were just talking about this in another interview. The original script was a lot more like salacious, especially like during like the eyes wide shut scene at the end. A lot of like doing drugs off erect penises and such. And so we scaled some of that obscenity back. Just because we don't know, you know, when we did Death Drop Gorgeous, we didn't know how far it was going to go, and it got on Shudder, which was like a dream come true. We didn't think or didn't know how far that movie was going to go. So when we were coming around to Saint Drogo, we wrote it in the pandemic, so I was a little like stunted and a little lonely, if you know what I mean. And so I think I got put a lot in that script that was a little horny. But as we went to go film it, you know, we don't know the ins and outs and the rules of like what can be on an Amazon Prime, and just to avoid sort of any censoring or needing to re-edit or just getting taken down with no warning type of situation, we kind of scaled some of that stuff back.
In the script too, we went kind of like, even aside from the sex stuff, like some of the dream sequences we had originally written were like way too complicated for us to pull off, and just we're gonna be like way too expensive. So there's gonna be a lot more like surrealish kind of crazy dream stuff with things coming out of the ocean and all kinds of stuff. So we kind of had to scale that back.
Was the final product though? Well, I'm sure. I mean, you guys put it out there, but was it what you wanted it to be, like the end result?
Yeah, it's funny. When we were making this, and Ryan edited all of it. Like we kind of piecemealed all the scenes together. It wasn't shot in like chronological order, but like reading the script, like we all talk about it, we kind of thought it was just gonna be like a gross, scary film. But then like when we saw the finished product, it was way more bleak and sad than we thought it was gonna be. So like we didn't think it was gonna go that way, but it did, and we kind of ended up liking it more that way. So yeah, maybe that's just
no, totally. Like when we were watching it, like it started off like really interesting. That opening scene was really interesting, and then it just progressively just got like more and more sad. Like we were all just like, wow, this is kind of like a buzzkill, like no lie. Like we were it took us like 15-20 minutes just to like say anything. Like we were just like, how do we even start this review? Like, and then this one started with Antigua, so we were like, okay, that's a good start.
Just get the ball rolling. Yeah. No, I think part of that too, like the reason it ended that way. So our friend Chris Barnes, who his performing name is Jim Club, he's an amazing musician, and he scored the film for us. And like the music that he writes, I think is like very, it's powerful, but like moving, but like also like a little bit of like, it's a little sad. It's like a little bit of sad girl music, but just like beautiful. And I think that like he brought some of the scenes to life in ways that like we might not have been able to anticipate. So I mean, like, at the end there's a couple of songs there, and I mean throughout, but like that I think are very like moving, but really color what you're seeing contextually in like a certain way. And like it doesn't just feel like, oh, we're ending this with like a a gory, like scary moment. It's more like, oh shit, this is like a profound, like impactful moment. And so I think like that definitely, like, I think like Brandon was saying, maybe made it go in a direction that we didn't maybe initially anticipate, but then we were like, oh shit, actually I really like that, and that works.
Emotions definitely shot through. Like that ending scene, I feel like when he's kind of like just looking over to his partner and just kind of like, help me, and then he's just like, it's like ultimate form of betrayal. I feel like that's a lot of things that like when you were talking about like queer relationships, like sometimes they go completely wrong and completely downhill, and it's just like That's definitely a common theme. You know, and also just like snorting shit off of people's feet. I feel like that was very relatable as well.
Well, it's one of those things too, is like as queer people, like we don't get to have the same experience that like straight people do, like figuring out like red flags, like what we want from a partner.
Yeah.
I think like when you see Caleb and Adrian's characters, like you can see that they're faltering and crumbling, but like they're staying together because like as queer people we get stuck in these situations and like we're like this is the best that we're gonna get, and then like you're stuck in these relationships that are just god awful. Straight people get to sort this shit out in like grade school, high school. We don't. Like we have to like stay in the closet. We're still just being weird. Not all of us have to stay in the closet, but like for certain situations. But like I feel like even like when you get out of high school, like into like your 20s, like you're so like emotionally immature for relationships and like you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And you end up in these situations and it sucks.
There was a lot that I mirrored my real life, I mean, I guess that's what, the point of the movie was, but it was really hitting close to home. That was what I really loved about it, even though it was so funny and almost like over dramatic. I still related to it personally, which I really, the way y'all shot it and put it together was really good. It was amazing.
Thank you.
I think that makes me happy to hear. Thank you.
I wanted to know what made you start wanting to make movies. Like, what were you doing? And then you thought, I want to make this into a movie.
It's kind of funny. So like, my Chris, who was one of the people that helped with making Drogo too, he was like one of the co-creators of Death Drop Gorgeous. I was friends with his sister down here when I first moved down, and then started to get to know him through her. And we were like sitting around talking about like how these sex apps are like made for serial killers, like horny gay men just like skip over all red flags, and it's like, come meet me in this abandoned parking lot at 4 a.m. and get in my pickup truck, and like you're not thinking. So like just making dumb jokes about it. Like we're talking like we should make a a slasher film about someone using these apps to like lure in gay men and murdering them. And so like a year later, like I brought this story up to Mike, and Mike was like, "Oh, we should make this into a movie." So we did. We just kind of like went for it.
Yesterday, I got this message from this one guy, and he was like, "Oh, tonight's the night, 5 to 7 p.m. Come in, taking as many loads as possible." I was just like, "How the fuck do you not know if like the serial killer's gonna come in and just like slash your throat?" Well, I mean, drop a load first, but then slash your throat right after.
Yeah.
I don't know why y'all are laughing. No, I'm just kidding.
It's pretty wild. I mean, like that like the scene in Death Drop, like the glory hole scene. It's like people are always like, we made it a little like campy and over the top with like the glove that comes through the hole and everything. But everybody's like, oh no, like I would never go in there. I would never do that. And I'm like, bitches, like, yes, you would. Like I've seen the type of that you guys do, like the situation that ourselves in, like, oh, you wouldn't go in because there was like mood lighting and plastic. Like, yeah, you would. You'd still go in there.
I mean, obviously you guys know each other in real life, but how did y'all meet? Or like when did y'all meet?
Yeah, Mike, when did we meet? Like, well, I met Ryan's my partner. I've met him. We've been together for 12-ish years. So I met him 12 years ago. And Mike, we met like what, 2000 and
it was we started writing Drop in 2015. It was probably like 2011, 2012 at a bar in Boston Valley we met. I was still living in Boston, so it was somewhere between 2010 and 2012, I think.
We had a bunch of mutual friends too. I think that's how we kind of met.
And then Brandon and I just kept in touch about like horror movies. And I think some of the impetus of like us starting Death Drop was also at the time being like very dissatisfied with like the movies we were seeing or that were out at the time. And so that sort of spiraled into Brandon sharing that crazy idea with me that him and Chris came up with.
Yeah.
Okay,
and he worked at a coffee shop, and I met him there that I used to go to. So that's how we first started dating.
That is so gay.
I just at
the coffee shop.
The story's even gayer.
Yeah, I mean,
it involves a Craigslist misconnection.
Okay.
He like posted like a missed connection thing, just thinking like nothing of it or that it wouldn't really do anything or work. And then I happened to like check missed connections like that week, and I was like, wait a minute, I was like, is this about me? And so then I responded, and then it basically, it's been 12 years.
Wait, y'all are being serious?
Yeah. I was outside smoking a joint with my friend Allison, and like on our break, and I was like telling her about this guy coming in, and she's like, "Dude, you should put a misconnections ad." And I was like, "No way!" And then I just like on a whim did it. I was sitting
saw
like,
it.
And then I was sitting in like another coffee shop like 3 days later, and I'm like, let me check misconnections. And then it was like, wait
this
a minute,
fucking
is this me?
pervert.
The funny thing is, like, the message that he wrote, though, it was like the least romantic message.
What did he say?
And I give him shit about it, but it was like literally because he like wasn't really that invested, like didn't think it was gonna do anything. It was just like one sentence, like no punctuation, and it was like it had like the name of the coffee shop and the subtitle or in the title, and then it said, "You were in white shirt, looked like you were into it. Get at me." Like that's all it said.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, like you could have said a little more.
I was really
but...
high when I wrote that.
Okay.
He said, "I think this is good," and post.
Yeah,
He said,
I
I typed it with one hand.
Yeah, typed it in one hand.
yeah. I'm like, would it kill you to like use a sentence or period or punctuation?
How romantic.
Yeah.
Okay, so you two are in a relationship. I thought it was like
Like a three-way or
I thought it was a throuple type situation.
I mean, we all live together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
look like they're third, but I'm not. But if that's what you want, we can just like pretend.
Yeah, he said, if you're down for it, I mean, I am too. Have any of y'all ever thought about doing drag? Or have y'all done drag before?
Brandon, you've been in drag a few times. I mean, drag is a very loose term, but
Need
Actually,
to see
if we're
pictures
doing-
after this?
Ryan,
sure.
Ryan's been in this really beautiful blonde wig one time. Oh, I love that photo. Very gorgeous.
It's just a hard front, right?
We have a couple of moments, a couple of parties too that we've been to. Like we had a like sort of like Christmas Jersey type like
Jersey mom.
yeah, Jersey mom type thing here, a party. And so we were all like, had like the fake cigarettes and the martini glasses and like Christmas sweaters and like really bad wigs. And
What a mood, yeah.
What about you, Mike? Have you ever wanted to be in drag?
I want to, but it's just like what I have to get over is that I'm not gonna look like a runway model because I'm very broad. And in my dream fantasy, I look like I don't eat anything and I have like no boobs and I'm like a fashion model. But I'm really gonna look like a linebacker in a wig. But I would love for like one of the girls like locally to do my face, and I would shave it everything. Like I would do the whole thing.
That linebacker with the wig, that's kind of like this one.
Okay. I got these shoulders from my mother.
Okay.
Who is, should I say, your favorite drag artist?
In general, and then your favorite drag artist from Dragula.
Oh shit. Oh my god, that's a tough one.
My favorite from Dragula is gonna be, and I think these two will probably agree, is oh shit, no, fuck. It's gonna be a tie between Victoria Elizabeth Black and Vander. They're both like sweethearts, and they've both been super supportive of our stuff. And obviously we worked with Victoria on Death Drop Gorgeous for the special effects, and she was just really great. And it was just like amazing to watch her work. I think like her brain works like so few other artists, and like she's so young. So I think Vander is just like also her creativity is like out of this world. So for Dragula, I would say those two. Favorite drag queen ever, Divine.
Agreed with the Dragula choices. I think we've met a lot of the Dragula queens because Stable here, he was booking them every Friday for a while. And Sigourney Beaver is super awesome. She's really sweet. Hollow Eve was super sweet and amazing. Louisiana Purchase, I fucking love too. Fantastic person and artist. Coco Can is fucking awesome. Like everyone we met from that show has been like super chill. That for like favorite drag queen ever, shit. Divine's definitely a good choice. I love Tammy Brown and Katya too. Alaska too. It's a tricky one. I don't know.
That's a hard question. It's a hard question to decide.